Welcome back to BHookedCrochet.com's Crochet Challenge for Warm-Up America. In this demonstration, I will talk about how to crochet block number 2 of our Crochet Challenge pattern. And for this particular tutorial, you're going to need 2 of your colors. You're going to need your background color, and then you'll also need one of your accent color yarns. You will need to crochet 18 of block number 2. And the number of each color combination is going to depend on how many colors you're using for your particular afghan. I am using a total of 5 accent colors in addition to my background color, and so I have created 4 block number 2 in 4 of my accent colors, and then 2 in my remaining accent color. So that totals 18 for block number 2. So block number 2 is essentially the same as block number 1 and block number 3. The only difference is that this block we're going to make a color change. So you're going to find this pattern very similar if you've already crocheted all of your block number 1. It's going to be the same. We're just going to make one color transition. To begin block number 2, we're going to start off the same as we did with block number 1. You want to grab one of your accent colors. I'll be using Red Heart with Love Lettuce is the name of this colorway. And we're going to start off with a slip knot. And then we will chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then we're going to make 3 double crochets into this first chain. So we're making this first chain be the center of our round. Okay, then we're going to make a corner, so we'll make 2 chains in order to accomplish that. And then we'll make 3 more double crochets into the center, so in that first chain. Okay, now chain 2. Now make 3 double crochets into the center. And chain 2. And now we just want to make 2 double crochets into the center, because just like for block number 1, we had these 3 chains counting as a double crochet. So we just need to add 2 more to finish off this last side. And then we want to locate the chain to join the round. So we've got, this is our first stitch here on this side, so we'll count this as the first chain, and right here is the second chain. So we're going to join with that second chain to finish off round 1. And just like in block number 1, you'll have a total of 12 stitches at the end of round 1. To begin round 2, we're going to chain 5. And then we'll rotate our square, and we'll make 2 double crochets into this first corner. And then we want to make 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then we'll make 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 2 double crochets into this next corner. Now make one double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And we'll be making our next corner, so 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochets. So this is all pretty much just review for you. If you've already created all of your block number 1, we're doing the same thing. So if you're struggling following along with this video, if you've jumped ahead and you're making block 2 first, I recommend that you go back and check out the video for block number 1. Okay, to finish up round 2, we want to make sure we catch that stitch right here, and then we'll make another stitch into the chain 2 space. Okay, and then we're going to join with that second chain. And that's going to finish off round 2. So at the end of round 2, you should have a total of 28 stitches. To begin round 3, we're going to chain 5. Okay, then rotate our square, make 2 double crochets into the first corner. And then we'll make 1 double crochet into each of the next 7 stitches. And now we'll form our corner, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, all in that next corner. And this is our pattern repeat for round 3. Okay, so at the end of round number 3, you should have a total of 44 stitches. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and bind off our accent color. So we're just going to leave ourselves a few inches there, and then pull that tail through the loop on our hook. Now go ahead and grab your background color, and we'll finish up block number 2. To begin round 4 of block number 2, we need to bind on with our background color. So I'm using Peacock as the background color for my afghan. We just want to create a slip knot. And we're going to bind on in the corner where we bind it off from round 3. So I'm just going to insert my hook just into that chain gap space, and then place the slip knot on my hook, and then just pull that through. Now I'm going to lay this tail from my other color just directly on top there, and then we want to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're not actually doing anything differently with round 4. We're going to start off with the chaining of 5, just like we always do. So the only difference here is just the color change. Now something I recommend, if you're comfortable with it, is to work over these tails as you go along, because we're making a total of 63 squares for this afghan, and that's a whole lot of ends to weave in at the end of your project. And so I like to bring that number down a little bit by working over the tails when I make my color transition. So I just hold on to those between my ring finger and my pinky of my yarn hand, and I just make sure that they're kind of laying on top of the square. And then we just continue on like normal. We'll make 2 double crochets into this corner space here. And then we'll just make 1 double crochet into each of the next 11 stitches. So this is review again. So you want to work over those tails as long as you can, or if you're not comfortable with doing it like this, then you can always weave them in at the end. So once you're finished, then I just hold them off to the side there and then just continue working. So the pattern repeat is exactly the same from here on out for round number 4. So just go ahead and finish up round number 4, and we'll meet back up at the end of this round. Okay, so once you've reached the end of round 4, it's going to look slightly different because of where we bind it on. But really the only difference is that this chain is not actually coming directly from right here like it is when you don't change colors. So we want to make sure we get that last double crochet, and then we just double crochet again into that chain 2 gap space. And then we'll join with a slip stitch to that second chain. So really it looks different, but it's not actually any different. Your stitch count's the same. So at the end of round 4, you'll have a total of 60 stitches. And from here, we're ready to move on to round 5. Round 5, we're going to chain 5. And it's going to be exactly the same as round 5 from block number 1. We're just going to make 2 double crochets into that first corner. And then make 1 double crochet into each of the next stitches here on this side. So we have a total of 15 stitches here. So 1 double crochet into each of the next 15. Okay, make your corner the same way. 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and 2 double crochets. And that's your pattern repeat for round 5. So go ahead and finish up with round 5. And we'll meet back up and talk about binding off and completing block number 2. Once you've finished round 5, we can go ahead and bind off. And we'll also go ahead and weave in these tails. Now for the color change, if you worked over your tails like I did, you can just trim these off. However, if you didn't, you want to make sure you weave those in, and you would do so just in the same row here where you had the color transition. And so when we're weaving in the other tails, it's the same as we did for block number 1. And I'll demonstrate the way that I like to weave them in now. You can do it however you're comfortable. Okay, now once you're sure those are good and secure, you can just trim off that tail. And that concludes the demonstration for block number 2. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, you need to have a total of 18 squares with this particular pattern. So you want to have 3 rounds in your accent color and then 2 rounds of your background color. And the number of blocks that you do, you know, as far as each color goes, it depends on how many colors you're using to accent. So as I mentioned before, I'm using 5 accent colors. I did 4 blocks of each color, of each of the 4 background colors that I did. And then my last background color, I only did 2 of those blocks, and that's going to total 18. So depending on the color palette that you chose, you'll need to make adjustments, or if you're doing it the same way as me, then you can just follow this instruction. Stay tuned for the demonstration of block number 3 for the Crochet Challenge for Warm Up America.